Hello and welcome. My name is Carol McCullough and I am the founder of Auntie Carol's Reading Room. In today's video, I am going to cover with you briefly how the creating of slides, and I'm going to go through with you all the platforms that are available that I use. Okay, to start off with, I'm going to take my pretty face off so that it is just a screen capture that I'm using. There we go. I'm going to, in another lesson, show you how this is done. So I've made note that this is a lesson that I need to cover with you. I'm going to take it in small lessons, in small increments. And the reason why I do it is I have discovered that there are people who have absolutely no idea what to do with a computer. And they are advertising and they are busy doing online classes and so on. So I would really like us to really excel at what we do and do our very best. So this is my gift to you. Let's start with the look of your PowerPoint. Let me start by telling you that I am not a Microsoft fundi, that I'm going to tell you what I use, what works for me, and what I think can work for you the easiest way. I had to learn the hard way, but I'm willing to share all of that with you. Up here on this brown line, which is called the toolbar, we have 3, 4, 5, 6, we have a few icons. The first icon is the save button. Just saves whatever is you're working on, saves it just as it is. It will save this as Mrs. Carol McCullough 1 PowerPoint in documents or wherever. The second one is the undo key. That arrow that goes that way says undo. I don't want this, it's wrong. I want to undo it. There's a downwards thing that tells you what it is. And then there's another arrow says that redo it. No, I want it, redo it. The next slide says, this is your presentation key. That one says touch mouse mode. This one is your file. You open, control opens a file. And that is those icons. Over here, I never mess with these, especially this one, because then I struggle to find where I have to go. So I have to make time to learn what's going on there. That is me there. This is to minimize the screen and to have just something else there. But I want to go back and I want my screen that I'm working on. So I've got to go and find it. That is moving the keys. That is closing. I use that key, that a lot. When I hit that, I go back and it asks me, do you want to save? Yes or no? Let me take you there and show you. So it tells me, do you want to save this or don't you want to? If you hit don't save, it doesn't save anything, or it saves the last saved version of what you worked on. In this case, I'm going to cancel it because I want to continue working. Below those icons are the toolbars with the menus that we can use. We have the file. It's click on file. File takes us to home, new, open, info. I use save as. Let me tell you the ones I use. I use this back arrow. It takes me back to the slide where I'm working. I use new to create a new slide. When I click on new, I normally click on a blank presentation. I use open when I'm looking for slides that I've already worked on or that I want to continue working on. Here they are. Scroll down. It doesn't give you everything else. You have to go and look for them in other places as well. I never use info. I seldom use that save. I use save as, because I want to save either as OneDrive or as this PC. I never print, I never share, I never use export, I never use that close. I never use account, feedbacks, or options. I use home, new, open, save as. Those are the ones I use, and I use that arrow, and I'm going to use it right now. On the home key, this home key opens this set, this ribbon. It opens all of these things here. I don't use cut, I don't use paste. I use cut and paste when I want to duplicate a set of slides and start a new presentation on a completely new beginning. Then I highlight my slides, and I will show that to you in another video, and I use either cut or copy. I use new slide a lot. If I want to insert a new slide there, I would click on that and it would insert a new slide for me. But I don't want a new slide, so I'm going to undo it. I use layout a lot. I'm going to go back to that new slide that I created. Layout, when I click on layout, I usually click on blank. I always start my slides from a blank slate. I never use the other things, reset and section. I don't use those. I fiddle just with the one I use. I use this block a lot. This is where you get your font. You will see that I'm using Hello Tiffany 138. I use bold and italics and underline and shadow. I seldom use strike through. I use color. I could change the color of the font here to a deep purple or whatever color I want to use. I use my uppercase fonts and my lowercase fonts. I use my bullets. I use my numbering. I don't use these two. I use this one here with the arrow up and down. That is for line spacing. When I am writing something with much smaller font and I'm dealing with struggling readers or students with dyslexia and I want them not to skip lines, I help them by making my line spacing bigger. Did you see that? If I work on 1, this is the line spacing, that's the space. If I go to 1.5, they're bigger. If I go to 1.2, they are even bigger. So that's where you can manipulate your line spacing. I use left aligned and center a lot. I seldom use the other alignment, and I use center justified. Those are the ones I use there. I seldom use text direction, align text, and this, I don't fiddle with that. I use this block a lot. This comes, that's my text box. That one I use all the time. Every day when I use a create a slide, I use that one. These you will find on your insert under shapes, the rest. These are just the ones that I've recently used. I use arrange, and I'll show you quickly what arrange does. Right now I have the background as the bottom layer. Then I have this text box placed on top of that, and then I have the text inside. So this now comes as a unit, this text box with the words. But now let's say I want to take this to the back. I just want this alone. I would go to arrange and I will click on send to back, and the text box with creating slides is gone. It's lying behind this, and I can show you where it is. There it is. it's behind this picture. But I don't want that. I want my picture just where I can see it. If I want this to come to the front and that to go to the back, I will click on bring forward or bring to the front. Oh no, that's the one. I want to bring that to the front. Bring to the front, and now I can show you that my text box is at the back again, but this time I brought this to the front. Okay, so that I use a lot. I also use it to group and arrange things. We'll talk about that more when we come to that slide. I use shapefill, I use shape outline, and I use shape effects. I sometimes use quick styles. I would just create a quick style, and I'll show you that too when we get to it. I seldom use these. These I'm going to talk about when we get to insert, which is our next menu that we use. So I've covered everything here on home. On my insert menu, I have all of these, and I will go through the ones that I use, and I will tell you the ones I don't use. I use tables a lot. I just insert my pictures. I don't use insert pictures. I go to where I keep my pictures. I click on copy and I paste it in where I want to. I don't use screenshots this much here. I use it in a different place. I use shapes. So I just use new slides, table, and shapes. I use add-ons. Now, add-ons is what I showed you just a minute ago. I said to you, I'm going to show you these two when we get to insert. So now we are in insert, and those two are gone because they are add-ins. And I click on my add-ins, and you can see here are my add-ins, my easy timer, my picket, and my characters. I will show you these in another slide. I don't want to overcrowd you. I use my links differently. I don't use this one. There's another way. I left click on my slide, and I right click on my mouse, and I go to hyperlink and I add it, which is the same thing there, but this for me is what I'm accustomed to. I use text box. I told you I use header and footers. I don't use these other things. I use symbols. This one. I don't use equations. I'm not mathematically inclined. I use symbols. If I want to insert the A short vowel, I would go to symbols. I have it there. You can see my used ones. And there I have my short A symbol inserted. This is my short A with the symbol. That's not what I want today. I just wanted to show you. I don't use these. Design, I only use slide size and slide format background, and I will do formatting and slide size with you in another video. I don't use transitions at all. I use animations. I use all of these animations, all of them. I use this one as well. I use this one as well, and these are my favorite ones. I use slideshow especially when I'm working and I want to go exactly to a slide that I am currently working on. Currently, if I go to presenting and I use the presentation icon, it goes to the beginning of my slides. But if I want to work on a particular slide, I go to slideshow, and let's say I want to work on Google Slides. I go to slideshow and I present from here and take you to where we are. Okay. Then I That's slideshow. I seldom use record here, but you can use it. We'll talk about that as well. I never use review. I use view. I use view in my notes page, if I want to insert notes there for my presenter notes, or if I want to rearrange my slides and I have 50 slides and it's going to take me forever to rearrange them, I work here. I don't use the others. I use developer, and it's something that if I touch it now, we're going to get confused. I'm not going to show you, but I'm going to take you through the whole developer thing. It's a whole thing on its own. I use help when I need help. I never tell the computer what I want. Those are the ones that I use mostly for my presentations. To get back to my normal screen, I've got to go back to view and I've got to click on normal, and there you have my slides. That is the PowerPoint layout. On this side of PowerPoint, you have all the slides that you are working on. These are slides I created for this presentation. In the middle of the screen, you have the actual work area, as you want to call it. If you want to open, for instance, if you want to go into design and I want to work on slide size, it will open it right here on the screen. If I want to work on design and format slide, it opens a side panel and you can format your slide from there. I use that a lot as well, and we will talk about that, and it's important that we know that one. I'm going to close this because we're not going to need it now. That is the layout of your slides. If you want to learn more about all of these things, please use YouTube. They have loads and loads of people. There's Kevin with the Cookie Company. There are just so many people all teaching you what to do. The reason why I'm doing this, there are very few people who take you through for those people who have absolutely no idea what to do. So that is going to be just that. In my next video, I'm going to start talking about creating slides, and we're going to start talking particularly about PowerPoint. Thank you for now. Please do subscribe to my channel and like it if you think it was worth watching. And I'll see you next time. Thank you and bye-bye.